Now we're talking about cables and connections. We'll start with 1/4 inch world, and we'll begin with a instrument cable. This is what you would plug into your guitar or bass or maybe keyboard, and this is an unbalanced 1/4 inch cable. It's going to have basically 2 connection points. There's the tip and the sleeve. One will be the actual signal and one will be a ground. The next one up from that will be a TRS cable. If you notice, the TRS cable has a tip, ring, and a sleeve. But there's 1 wire that, or 2 wires that have a signal going through them, and one's reverse polarity so that it is noise canceling, and then there's a ground. These are often used for either balanced line inputs or outputs coming out of different devices, or this could also be a stereo headphone cable. So these will be used in a patch bay to route into a headphone mixer, because you're going to have a left and right channel as well as a ground. A pair of headphones here, and you can see it's got the TRS tip ring sleeve 1/4 inch. A lot of these headphones are kind of also go between a 1/8 inch TRS, and a lot of them have these little adapters, so depending on the input jack size on your interface or device, whether it's a phone or a computer or an interface, you can use these little adapters to connect that. Another cable that's heavily used in a studio, project studio, will be a TRS extender, and literally this is just like an extension to a normal microphone cable. So if you're kind of short on length, you can use one of these cables to extend your headphones another 10 or 20 feet. TRS split to TS cable. Coming out of the back of a lot of interfaces, you have stereo or you have mono outputs. You have like outputs 1 through 8 on most 8-channel interfaces. And what you can do is you can have the left and right mono summed into a stereo. And when you're doing headphone monitoring, you might come out of the back of your interface with output 1 and 2, which converts it to a stereo, and then you can go into some sort of patch bay and then come out on the other side of the wall with a TRS cable that will travel into either directly into your headphones or can travel into a headphone mixer. So TRS cables are not only used for headphone stereo situations, but they're also a balanced line. Okay, so another kind of hybrid between the 2 worlds is a TRS 1/4 inch to some sort of XLR, okay? Because TRS has 3 different connection points, 3 different wires, and so does a microphone cable. This is a TRS to female XLR. These aren't as useful in a lot of situations, but you could use this, say, if you're plugging a microphone into a guitar amp. But more useful is the TRS to male XLR. Now this is what most of your recording interface stereo outputs use to go into a powered speaker monitor. So if you look on the back of a lot of speakers, you could have, you know, a 1/4 inch line, or you can have XLR input. So this is really useful because most interfaces, their output, their left and right monitor output channels. XLR cables have 3 connection points. The male end is the end that has the 3 prongs, and this is always the direction of the signal. So this is going to be what plugs into your microphone. On the back of your microphone there will be 3 prongs, so the signal is going out of the microphone, it's going into the female end of the XLR, and then it follows the direction of the male end, and this can be plugged into your microphone preamp or into a patch bay, into a snake, whatever you're doing. With XLR cables you have 3 connection points. There's 3 wires, 2 signal wires, as well as a insulated sleeve. So you have like plus and negative, and then a ground, which is basically a metal shield on the out exterior part, which makes it much less prone to interference. And the great thing about mic cables is they're very low voltage signal. They're the least powerful signal, and because there's less voltage going through this wire, it has the least amount of resistance. So you can have a XLR cable that goes 100 feet without losing a lot of signal, whereas an instrument cable or a line cable have a lot more voltage going through them, and the longer the cable, the more interference, the more resistance that you're going to encounter.